Welcome everyone to our channel. Today we have as our guest the co-founder of DiFFreight, a logistics company that has used our services for preparing reports on controlled foreign companies for the year 2023. We will discuss the progress of our services, about the experience of collaboration, working with us, with the company Pareto, reviewed the key results and future plans of the company. So let's get started. Right, Nazar?
Yes, of course.
All right. Let's then move on to the main questions. Tell us a bit more about your company. What is its main specialization? What challenges do you face in your work?
The company, DiFFreight, is an international company, a logistics company, and our main product is international transportation, also related services connected to international trade. We have a rather large structure, and what is related to working abroad, we need information, and we need to anticipate, and we must have the presence of controlled foreign companies. Accordingly, within the framework and requirements of the law, we must submit a report to the relevant company. And how did this happen with us? I instructed my lawyer, who very carefully researches the market, knows the market, and constantly checks everyone, trusts no one, to find a company that can directly do this, because not all Ukrainian accountants can work correctly and properly. Foreign documents to see what this number means, what this form means, this or that report, and then there are translation issues. We decided to use people who are specialists directly in this for such a purely project-based task. Yeti, our lawyer, who very carefully and meticulously chose the company Pareto. I asked a few questions there, and the company Pareto answered these questions correctly and properly, which I liked. We decided to work specifically with you. If we talk about the difficulties we encountered, I mentioned this a little. We simply don't understand what is happening in reality, how to correctly interpret this or that norm of the law. And this whole story with KIK for many is new and unclear. And in such a case, you need to have good contractors, let's say, whom you can trust, with whom you can work, and on whom you can fully rely in this work.
Good. Excellent. And the next question, what questions, maybe more in detail, what questions or difficulties concerned you the most before starting work with us on the report? How did our team help to resolve them?
Well, the most difficult was questions that can arise in general. For us, the ones that arose are those questions about which we don't even know they exist. And that's what it is, what you don't know. That is, there is a problem and you don't even know it exists. And that's the worst problem. And when we got in touch, we thought we needed to provide this form, that form, this form, and we would immediately get the result. But it turned out that we needed to gather additional information and verify this information further in order to correctly and accurately provide the data for MOM inclusion in these reports.
The biggest problem is that we don't understand that there is a problem. That's how I see it. Everything is clear, yes. This is probably the most common answer to such a question, because indeed we as specialists understand these services much better and know what is necessary from you for us to perform this service qualitatively. All right, next question, Nazar. How does it go in the process of cooperation? How convenient was it to interact with our specialists and get answers to all the questions that you had? Did we have?
I counted the number of messages I sent, the chat, which was created purely for this. It was 22 messages from my side and about 10 more messages, so 32 messages in total. And we got a great result. Additionally, we needed to gather information there, but we had to collect it anyway. But I mentioned this a bit earlier. We received 32 messages in response.
Great, good. That's very nice. What results did you achieve as a result of our collaboration? Do they meet your expectations? What did you like the most about our collaboration?
Well, regarding the result, it's called a report submitted. It's a kind of result. Whether it will come back later or not, I don't know. We know we live in reality. On our part, both we and you, we have made it as correct, proper, and understandable as possible. How it will be in the long term, it's hard for me to say right now.
That's true. Yes, it's really hard to recall. Somehow neither we nor you can. If something comes up, we will write to you. Well, we will try to accompany you from the start. Yes, ma'am, regarding this report, it's not a difficulty for us. That's fine. And how about your company? What are your company's plans for the future? Do you wish or do you see the possibility of further cooperation with the company regarding this involvement in activities and new projects? Will you recommend us to your colleagues, acquaintances, friends, if I'm not mistaken?
We have already approached you with a slightly different request for another job, which is not related to Kiku. And we have submitted a proposal, and now we are in the process, let's say, of data collection. And that's the first thing. Secondly, the number each year. Well, that's right. Well, that's not right. Now we should be submitting for the year 2024 accordingly, and we will be in this.
It's wonderful to work with you in this direction. It's very good. Next question. If you were asked whether it's worth collaborating with the company Pareto, what would you say? What aspects would you particularly highlight in your recommendation? Regarding us, perhaps you have suggestions or any wishes for improving our service.
As an entrepreneur, you have to make a choice. You can hire people who will do this work, who already understand it, or you can turn to a contractor. And we considered such an option, actually, to do everything ourselves. But it's long and unclear. And, well, somehow not quite right from the point of view of risk assessment in some perspective. How much do we answer your question?
Probably, yes. I think everything is quite exhausted here. Good. Ta-da. Thank you for your sincere answers and positive feedback on our cooperation. It was a pleasure working with your company, and we are always open to further cooperation.
Again, I want to add something else. I like something. It seems to me that they are reading my thoughts.
How exactly?
You want to ask this question, and there is already an answer to it. And what if this, and the answer is already there?
Well, that somehow, thank you. Smells like professionalism, right?
He did so much. Exactly.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much.